Dr. Alex Morgan wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stared at the broken machine in front of him. The lab was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the distant sound of traffic outside the Denver Research Institute. It was 3 in the morning, and Alex was alone with his failed experiment. He had been trying to bend space for 6 months now. Every other scientist said it was impossible with current technology. They told him he was wasting time and money. The institute director had warned him that his funding would be cut if he did not show results soon. Alex picked up a wrench and hit the side of the quantum field generator. Sparks flew from the control panel. He stepped back and cursed under his breath. This was his 15th attempt, and like all the others, it had ended in failure. The machine was supposed to create a small bubble of twisted space. The theory was simple enough. If you could bend space in the right way, you could make distances shorter. What took light years to travel could become mere miles. But theory and practice were very different things. Alex was about to shut down the power when something strange happened. The air in front of the machine began to shimmer like heat waves on hot pavement. A small area about the size of a basketball started to look different. It was still there, but it seemed wrong somehow. Objects behind it looked stretched and twisted. Alex rubbed his eyes. He had been working for 18 hours straight. Maybe he was seeing things, but the shimmer was still there, and now it was growing larger. The bubble of twisted space was about 3 feet wide and perfectly round. He reached for his phone to call Dr. Lisa Park, his research partner. Lisa was the only person who believed his work might actually lead somewhere. She lived just 10 minutes away and had told him to call if anything interesting happened. No matter what time it was. Lisa arrived 20 minutes later with coffee and a box of donuts. She took one look at the bubble and nearly dropped everything she was carrying. "Alex, what the hell is that thing?" she asked. "I think it is what we have been trying to create," Alex said. "But it is different from what I expected." Lisa walked around the bubble, studying it from every angle. She pulled out her tablet and started taking measurements. The readings made no sense. According to her instruments, the space inside the bubble did not exist in the normal way. It was folded in on itself, twisted into impossible shapes. "This should not be possible," Lisa said. "The energy levels are all wrong. You are using maybe 1% of the power that should be needed for this." Alex nodded. He had noticed the same thing. His machine was running on barely enough power to light a house, yet it was doing something that should require the energy of a small star. "There is more," Alex said. He pointed to a pencil he had dropped earlier. It was lying half inside and half outside the bubble. The part inside the bubble looked normal, but it was clearly in a different place than it should be. "Watch this." Alex picked up another pencil and pushed it slowly into the bubble. As soon as it crossed the boundary, it seemed to jump forward about 6 inches. When he pulled it back out, it returned to its normal position. "It is like the space inside is shorter than the space outside," Lisa said. They spent the next hour testing the bubble with different objects. Everything that went inside seemed to travel a shorter distance than it should. A measuring tape that showed 6 inches outside the bubble showed only 2 inches inside. "Alex, do you understand what this means?" Lisa asked. "If we can make this bigger, if we can control it, we could change everything. We could travel to the stars." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. Faster than light travel had been the dream of humanity for hundreds of years. Other species in the galaxy had figured it out long ago, but humans were still stuck in their own solar system. The few aliens who had made contact with Earth were not willing to share their technology. But this was different. This was not borrowed technology. This was something humans had discovered on their own. "We need to call Admiral Stone," Lisa said. Admiral Jack Stone was the head of Earth's Space Command. He was one of the few military leaders who supported civilian research into advanced propulsion. Lisa had met him at a conference 2 years ago, and he had given her his personal number. Alex hesitated. Once they involved the military, this would no longer be just a research project. It would become something much bigger and more dangerous. Are you sure? Alex asked. Lisa looked at the bubble, which was still floating in the air like a piece of broken reality. Alex, this is bigger than us. This is bigger than the Institute. This could change the future of our entire species. Alex nodded slowly. She was right. This discovery was too important to keep secret. He watched as Lisa dialed the admiral's number. Admiral Stone arrived 2 hours later with a team of military scientists and engineers. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes that seemed to take in every detail of the lab at once. "Show me," he said simply. Alex and Lisa demonstrated the bubble again. They showed how objects moved through it, how space seemed compressed inside it. The military scientists took readings and measurements. They whispered among themselves and made notes on tablet computers. "How long can you maintain this?" Admiral Stone asked. "So far, about 6 hours," Alex replied. "Then the field collapses, and we have to start over." "And you can create it again?" "Yes, sir. Every time." Admiral Stone studied the bubble for a long moment. Alex could see the wheels turning in the old soldier's mind. The Admiral was not a scientist, but he understood the implications of what he was seeing. "Dr. Morgan, Dr. Park," Admiral Stone said finally, "how would you like to build a spaceship?" Alex and Lisa looked at each other. 6 months ago, Alex had been a failed researcher working on an impossible project. Now he was being asked to help build humanity's first faster-than-light spacecraft. "When do we start?" Alex asked. Admiral Stone smiled. "How about right now?" Captain Ryan Clark gripped the armrests of his chair as the EFS Liberty tore through space in ways that defied every law of physics he had ever learned. The ship shuddered and groaned around him, but it held together. Outside the view screen, stars stretched into long lines of light before snapping back to normal points. "Jump complete, Captain," announced Katie Bell from the engineering station. Her voice was steady, but Ryan could see sweat on her forehead. Even after dozens of test flights, the reality-breaking FTL drive still made everyone nervous. "Time to Alpha Centauri?" Ryan asked. 4 hours, 18 minutes, replied Ben Harris from Communications. Previous record was 3 weeks with conventional drives. Ryan nodded. A human FTL drive was not just faster than existing technology. It was impossibly faster. Instead of carefully folding space like other species did, humans had learned to punch holes straight through reality itself. It was violent, chaotic, and completely against everything the galaxy considered safe or sane. "Captain, I am picking up signals ahead," Ben said. "Looks like some kind of trading post near the Centauri system." Ryan felt his heart rate increase. This would be humanity's first contact with alien civilization since the brief meetings that had happened in Earth's solar system 5 years ago. Those encounters had been formal and cold. The aliens had made it clear that humans were too primitive to join galactic society. "All stations, prepare for contact," Ryan ordered. "Katie, keep our drive systems on standby." Ben tried to establish communication. The Liberty dropped out of its impossible FTL state near a large space station that looked like a giant flower made of metal and crystal. Ships of a dozen different designs floated around it, like insects around a bright light. None of them looked anything like human vessels. Ben worked at his console for several minutes before making contact. "Captain, I have someone on the line. They are speaking through a translation device. Put them through." The main screen flickered and showed a creature that looked like a cross between an octopus and a bird. Its skin was blue-green and covered in patterns that shifted and changed as it spoke. When it opened its mouth, Ryan could see rows of sharp teeth. Unknown vessel. This is Trade Commissioner Vex High of the Zephyrian Commercial Authority. You have entered our space without proper identification. State your species and point of origin. Ryan stood up and faced the screen. I am Captain Ryan Clark of the Earth Federation ship Liberty. We are humans from the Sol system. The aliens. Patterns changed rapidly. Its large eyes grew even larger. Humans? That is impossible. Your species does not possess faster than light capability. How did you travel from Sol to Centauri? We built our own FTL drive, Ryan said simply. Vex High made a sound that the translator rendered as shocked clicks. That is not possible. All FTL technology must be approved by the Galactic Transit Authority. Your species has not even submitted an application for review. We did not know we needed permission, Ryan replied. More clicking sounds came from the alien. Other creatures appeared on the screen behind Vex High, all talking at once in languages that sounded like music, growling, and electronic noise. Captain Clark, Vex High said finally, you must understand. Faster than light travel is the most dangerous technology in the galaxy. One mistake can destroy entire star systems. For over 10,000 years, every species has followed strict safety protocols. How did your people develop FTL without any guidance? Ryan was not sure how to answer that question. The truth was that humans had stumbled onto their FTL method by accident. Dr. Morgan's broken experiment had led to a discovery that violated every known law of physics. We found our own way, Ryan said. Show me your drive signature, Vex High demanded. Katie looked at Ryan, who nodded. She transmitted the technical data from their FTL jump. The effect on the aliens was immediate. Every creature on the screen began making alarm noises. Several of them disappeared entirely, presumably to spread the news. By the void depths, Vex High whispered, your drive creates massive spatial distortions. You are literally tearing holes in space-time. This should have destroyed your ship instantly. But it did not, Ryan pointed out. No, it did not, Vex High agreed. But how? Our best scientists have spent thousands of years perfecting safe FTL travel. We fold space gently, carefully, following precise mathematical formulas. You are attacking reality with brute force and somehow making it work. Ben stepped forward. Sir, I am detecting multiple ships changing course toward our position. Word is spreading fast. Ryan could see the concern in Vex High's large eyes. The alien was trying to process something that challenged everything it thought it knew about. The universe. Captain Clark, your people are in great danger, Vex High said. The Galactic Transit Authority will not tolerate unauthorized FTL technology. They will demand that you surrender your ships and submit to standard integration protocols. What does that mean? Ryan asked. It means your species will be placed under galactic supervision for the next 50 to 100 years while you learn to use approved technology. Your current drives will be destroyed. Ryan felt anger building in his chest. Humanity had finally achieved faster than light travel on their own, and the galaxy wanted to take it away from them. And if we refuse? Ryan asked. Vex High's patterns turned dark red. Then they will take your technology by force. Over the next few hours, the Liberty was surrounded by ships from a dozen different species. Most kept their distance, but their sensors were clearly studying every detail of the human vessel. Ryan allowed small groups of aliens to come aboard. For brief meetings, each encounter was the same. The aliens were fascinated and horrified by human technology in equal measure. Dr. Kethfer, a scientist from the Andromedian Collective, spent an hour studying Katie's engineering reports. When he finished, he declared the human approach impossible, dangerous, and completely insane. Your species has built FTL drives without any understanding of the underlying physics. He told Ryan, "You are like children playing with antimatter. Bombs." But Ryan noticed something else in the alien's voice. Behind the fear and shock was something that might have been envy. The humans had accomplished in months what had taken other species thousands of years to achieve. As news of the human arrival spread through the galactic communication network, ships continued to arrive at the trading post. Some came to study the humans, others came to warn them. A few came with messages from their governments offering friendship or demanding submission. The most concerning message came from Prime Harmonizer Thulmos of the Galactic Transit Authority. It was short and direct. Human vessels will cease all FTL operations immediately and submit to inspection. Failure to comply will result in enforcement action. Ryan read the message aloud to his crew. Katie laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Enforcement. Action, she said. They want to take away the one thing that makes us equal to them. Ben was monitoring galactic communications channels. Captain, I am seeing increased military activity throughout this sector. Ships are being moved into position. Ryan stared out at the alien vessels surrounding his ship. Humanity had finally reached the stars, only to discover that the galaxy did not want them there. At least not on their own terms. Set course for Earth, Ryan ordered. It is time to let Admiral Stone know that we have a problem. As the Liberty prepared for its return jump, Ryan could not shake the feeling that they were about to start something much bigger than a simple first contact mission. The galaxy had rules, and humans had just broken every single one of them. The question now was whether humanity would be willing to follow those rules, or if they would choose to fight for their right to travel the stars in their own impossible way. Ambassador Helen White stood in the Great Hall of Kepler Station and tried not to show how nervous she felt. The massive chamber was filled with representatives from over 200 different alien species. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that Helen had trouble figuring out which end was their head. This was the emergency session of the Galactic Transit Council, called specifically to deal with the human problem. Helen was Earth's first ambassador to the galactic community, and she was about to face the most important challenge of her career. Beside her stood Dr. Alex Morgan, the scientist who had accidentally discovered humanity's reality-breaking FTL drive. Alex looked uncomfortable in his formal diplomatic clothes. He kept adjusting his tie and wiping sweat from his hands. "Remember," Helen whispered to him, "just explain the science as simply as you can. Do not let them intimidate you." Alex nodded, but his face was pale. "What if they decide to destroy Earth?" "They will not," Helen said, hoping she sounded more confident than she felt. "They are politicians and bureaucrats, not warriors. They want to control us, not eliminate us." At the center of the Great Hall sat Prime Harmonizer Thulmos, the leader of the Galactic Transit Authority. He was a massive creature that looked like a whale with arms and legs. His skin was dark blue and covered in scars from what Helen guessed were ceremonial markings. When he spoke, his voice was so deep that Helen could feel it in her bones. "This emergency session will now begin," Thulmos announced. "We are here to address the unauthorized development of faster-than-light technology by the species known as humans." A holographic display appeared above the center of the hall, showing technical data from the Liberty's FTL drive. Gasps and shocked sounds came from the alien delegates as they saw the readings. "As you can see," Thulmos continued, "the human drive creates massive spatial distortions that violate every safety protocol established over the past 10,000 years. This technology poses a threat to the stability of space-time itself." Dr. Kethvar, the Andromedian scientist who had studied the Liberty, stood up from his seat. He was tall and thin with silver skin that reflected the hall's lights like a mirror. "Honored delegates," Kethvar said. I have personally examined the human technology. It is primitive, uncontrolled, and completely reckless. The humans are literally punching holes through the fabric of reality. By all known laws of physics, their ships should have been destroyed instantly. Murmurs of agreement came from many. Of the delegates, Helen could see that most of the galaxy's representatives were already convinced that human technology was dangerous. Ambassador White, Thilmos said, "You may speak for your species." Helen stood up and walked to the speaking platform. She had practiced this speech dozens of times, but standing in front of hundreds of alien beings was different from practicing in her hotel room. "Honored delegates," Helen began, "my species does not seek to threaten the galaxy or violate your laws. We developed our FTL technology through our own research, without knowledge of galactic regulations." "Ignorance is not an excuse," interrupted a delegate from the hegemony. The creature looked like a giant insect with crystal wings. "Every species must follow proper procedures before developing dangerous technologies." "With respect," Helen replied, "no one told us about these procedures. The few times your people have visited our system, you made it clear that we were too primitive to participate in galactic civilization." This caused a stir among the delegates. Several species began arguing among themselves in languages that sounded like everything from bird songs to machinery grinding. Thilmos raised one massive arm for silence. "A point remains that human technology is unauthorized and dangerous. Dr. Morgan, explain to this council how your people developed this." "Drive." Alex walked slowly to the platform. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady when he spoke. "Honored council members," Alex said, "our FTL drive was discovered by accident. I was trying to create small distortions in space-time for research purposes. When my equipment malfunctioned, it created something unexpected." "Malfunctioned?" asked Dr. Velena, a scientist from the Crystal Mines Collective. She looked like a living statue made of blue crystal. "You are saying that your greatest technological achievement was the result of broken equipment?" "Yes," Alex said simply. "But we learned from that accident. We studied what happened and figured out how to control it." "Control it?" Kethver laughed. "A sound like breaking glass. You call that control? Your drive tears through space like a wild animal. There is no precision, no elegance, no safety." Alex looked confused. "But it works. We can travel faster than any other known technology." "That is exactly the problem," Thilmos rumbled. "Your technology is too powerful and too unpredictable. It must be regulated or destroyed." Helen stepped forward. "You want to take away our FTL capability because it is better than yours." The hall erupted in angry sounds from dozens of different species. Several delegates stood up and began shouting in languages that Helen could not understand. The translator system was overwhelmed and began producing nonsense. "Order," Thilmos commanded. "Ambassador White, you will not insult this council." "I am not insulting anyone," Helen replied. "I am stating a fact. Our drive is faster than anything in the galaxy, and that makes you uncomfortable." Dr. Velenia's crystal body began glowing brighter. "Your arrogance is astounding. Do you think speed is the only consideration? What about safety? What about the effect on space-time? What about the risk to other travelers?" "Our ships have never harmed anyone," Alex said quietly. "Yet," added a delegate from the Void Walkers, a mysterious species that rarely spoke in council sessions. This creature was completely black and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Your technology is new. You do not understand the long-term consequences." Helen could see that the council was moving toward a predetermined conclusion. Most of these species had probably decided what to do about humanity before the session even started. "What exactly are you proposing?" Helen asked. Thilmos consulted a datapad that looked tiny in his massive hands. The Galactic Transit Authority demands the following. First, all human FTL operations will cease immediately. Second, all human FTL-capable ships will be surrendered for inspection and modification. Third, human scientists will undergo standard training in approved FTL technologies. This process will take approximately 50 years. And if we refuse, Helen asked, then the galaxy will take necessary action to protect itself from the human threat. Helen felt anger building in her chest. You are asking us to give up our independence and submit to your control for half a century. We are asking you to follow the same rules that every other species follows, Thilmos replied. Rules that have kept the galaxy safe for 10,000 years. Alex stepped closer to the platform. May I ask a question? Thilmos nodded. In 10,000 years of following your rules, Alex said, has any species developed FTL technology faster than ours? The hall fell silent. Helen could see delegates, exchanging glances and uncomfortable gestures. Speed is not everything, Dr. Kethver said finally. That is not what I asked, Alex replied. I asked if anyone has built anything faster, more silence. The answer is no, said the Void Walker delegate. Human technology is the fastest FTL drive ever created. Then maybe, Alex said quietly, your rules are not as perfect as you think they are. The reaction was immediate. Half the delegates began shouting, while the other half demanded order. Helen could see that Alex had touched on something important. For all their talk of safety and regulation, the galaxy's greatest minds had been unable to achieve what a failed human scientist had stumbled upon by accident. This session is adjourned, Thilmos announced. The council will vote on the human matter tomorrow. As the delegates filed out of the hall, Helen noticed that they were forming small groups and talking in hushed voices. Some looked angry, but others looked thoughtful. A few even looked envious. Do you think we have a chance? Alex asked as they walked back to their quarters. Helen considered the question. The galaxy was afraid of human technology, but they also wanted it. That fear and desire might be the key to finding a solution that worked for everyone. Maybe, Helen said. But we need to be ready for the possibility that they will vote against us. What happens then? Helen looked out the window at the stars. Beyond Kepler Station, somewhere out there, Admiral Stone was preparing Earth's defenses for the possibility of galactic retaliation. Then we find out if human stubbornness is stronger than galactic bureaucracy. Captain Ryan Clark watched the massive galactic fleet appear on his sensors and tried to keep his expression calm. 50 warships had just dropped out of FTL around Earth's outer system, led by the kilometer-long flagship of Admiral Zixara of the Hegemony. It was the largest military force ever assembled in human space. Captain, they are broadcasting on all frequencies, reported Ben Harris from the communications station. Admiral Zixara demands that we surrender our FTL technology immediately. Ryan was commanding a small human fleet consisting of the Liberty, the Freedom under Captain Amy Foster, and the Defiance under Captain Chris Miller. 3 ships against 50. The odds were not good, but Ryan had learned that odds did not always tell the whole story. Put the Admiral through, Ryan ordered. The main screen showed a creature that looked like an armored reptile, the size of a small building. Admiral Zixara had 4 arms, each ending in claws that could probably tear through steel. Her voice was like grinding rocks when she spoke. Human vessels, you are in violation of Galactic Transit Authority regulations. Surrender your ships for inspection or face the consequences. Admiral, Ryan replied, we have committed no crimes. Our technology was developed legally in our own system. Your technology is unauthorized and dangerous, Zixara growled. The Galactic Council has voted. You will comply or be destroyed. Ryan glanced at his tactical display. The alien ships had arranged themselves in a perfect formation that surrounded the human fleet. Each vessel was larger and more heavily armed than anything humanity had ever built. In a straight fight, the humans would be crushed in minutes. But Ryan was not planning a straight fight. "Katie," he said quietly to his chief engineer, "are the new modifications ready?" Katie Bell looked up from her console with a grin that was half excitement and half terror. "The reality punchers are online, Captain. Dr. Turner's calculations look solid." Dr. Sam Turner had joined the Liberty's crew 2 months ago. He was a theoretical physicist who specialized in the impossible. His job was to find new ways to break the laws of physics, and he was very good at it. "All ships," Ryan announced on the fleet channel, "execute Murphy Protocol." Captain Amy Foster's voice came through the comm system. "Liberty, this is Freedom. Murphy Protocol confirmed. About time we showed these aliens what humans can really do." Captain Chris Miller's voice followed. "Defiance ready. Let us introduce them to human-style space combat." Admiral Zixara was still talking about surrender when the human ships simply vanished. The Liberty did not fold space or create an FTL tunnel like normal ships. Instead, it tore a hole in reality itself and stepped through it. The ship appeared 3,000 kilometers above the galactic flagship. Emerging from what the aliens had thought was empty space, Katie's modified FTL drive created a massive spatial distortion that twisted light and gravity around the Liberty. To the alien sensors, it looked like the human ship was attacking the very fabric of space-time. "Impossible," Admiral Zixara breathed. "Ships cannot micro-jump with that precision." The Freedom materialized inside the galactic formation, passing through space that should have been occupied by solid matter. Captain Foster had used Dr. Turner's reality-bending equations to phase her ship partially out of normal space. She was there, and not there at the same time. The Defiance took the most dangerous approach. Captain Miller brought his ship out of FTL inside an asteroid field, using the gravitational distortions of his drive to redirect the floating rocks toward the alien fleet. Chunks of stone and metal that should have continued on their original paths suddenly changed direction and accelerated toward the galactic ships. "What kind of madness is this?" Admiral Zixara demanded. Ryan smiled. "This is how humans fight." The galactic fleet tried to respond with conventional tactics. They fired energy weapons and launched missiles in carefully coordinated patterns. Their computers calculated firing solutions based on 10,000 years of space combat experience, but the human ships did not behave like normal vessels. The Liberty vanished and reappeared dozens of times, never staying in one place long enough for the aliens to target it effectively. Each microjump created spatial distortions that bent light and redirected energy beams. The Freedom phased in and out of normal space, becoming a ghost ship that could pass through enemy fire without taking damage. When Captain Foster needed to attack, she would solidify her vessel just long enough to fire, then fade back into unreality. The Defiance used its FTL drive as a weapon, creating gravity wells that pulled enemy ships off course and spatial tears that deflected incoming missiles. Captain Miller had turned his ship into a reality storm that made normal physics meaningless. Katie worked frantically at her engineering station, pushing the Liberty's impossible drive systems to their limits. "Captain, I can give you one more. Big surprise if you want it. What did you have in mind?" "Dr. Turner thinks we can create a stable wormhole. Not for travel, but as a defensive measure." Ryan considered this. "Do it." The Liberty's drive systems screamed as they generated more power than any ship should be able to handle. Space in front of the vessel began to twist and fold until it formed a tunnel that connected 2 different points in the battle zone. Admiral Zixara fired her flagship's main cannon directly at the Liberty. The massive energy beam should have vaporized the human ship instantly. Instead, it disappeared into the mouth of the wormhole and emerged from the other end, striking one of the Galactic Fleet's own cruisers. "They are using our weapons against us," one of the alien captains reported over the comm system. "I can see that," Admiral Zixara snarled. "All ships, fall back and regroup." But the Galactic Fleet found that retreating was just as difficult as attacking. The human ships had turned the entire battle zone into a maze of spatial distortions and reality tears. Ships that tried to escape found themselves moving in circles or suddenly accelerating in the wrong direction. Captain Foster brought the Freedom alongside a hegemony destroyer and opened a comm channel. "Surrender now, and we will let you leave peacefully." The alien captain's response was immediate. "A destroyer does not surrender to a ship 1/10 its size." "Your choice," Foster replied. She ordered her crew to create a micro-wormhole directly inside the enemy ship's engine room. The destroyer's power core suddenly found itself connected to empty space, and the ship went dead in seconds. Across the battle zone, similar scenes were playing out. The massive galactic warships, designed to fight conventional battles against conventional enemies, were helpless against human reality-bending tactics. Captain Miller used his ship's FTL drive to create a temporal distortion field around a group of enemy cruisers. The alien ships found themselves moving in slow motion while the Defiance operated at normal speed. It was like fighting underwater while your enemy could move normally. After 2 hours of impossible combat, Admiral Zixara finally called for a ceasefire. "Human vessels, cease your attack," she transmitted. "We request a parley." Ryan looked around the bridge at his crew. Katie was grinning like a child with a new toy. Ben was shaking his head in amazement at the communications traffic. From the confused alien fleet, Dr. Turner was already working on new ways to break physics. "All ships stand down," Ryan ordered. "Admiral Zixara, we are listening." The alien admiral appeared on the main screen again, but her attitude had changed completely. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something that might have been respect. "Captain Clark," she said slowly, "your species fights in ways we have never seen. You use your drive systems as weapons, shields, and tactical advantages. How is this possible?" "We think differently than you do," Ryan replied. "Your people have spent thousands of years learning to use FTL safely. We spent a few months learning to use it creatively." Admiral Zixara studied the tactical display showing the scattered remains of her formation. Not a single galactic ship had been destroyed, but all of them had been disabled or confused by human tactics. "We came here to take your technology by force," she admitted. "But we cannot defeat an enemy that rewrites the rules of combat with every engagement." "Then maybe it is time to try a different approach," Ryan suggested. The alien admiral was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice carried a tone that Ryan had not heard from any galactic representative before. It was the sound of someone who was beginning to understand that they might be wrong. "Captain Clark, I believe my government needs to reconsider its position regarding human technology." Ryan nodded. "We would be happy to discuss a peaceful solution." As the two fleets faced each other in the aftermath of the most unusual space battle in galactic history, Ryan could not help but smile. Humanity had just proved that sometimes the best way to solve a problem was to ignore everything you had been told was impossible. Dr. Alex Morgan stood in the newly built research station orbiting Earth and marveled at how much had changed in just 1 year. Through the large windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species coming and going. Human vessels worked alongside alien craft in ways that would have been impossible before the Battle of Earth. The research station was a joint project between humanity and the galaxy's most progressive scientific minds. It had been built using a combination of human engineering and alien technology, creating something that neither species could have achieved alone. "Alex, you need to see this," called Dr. Lisa Park from across the main laboratory. She was standing next to Dr. Valena of the Crystal Mines, working on equations that covered an entire wall with glowing symbols. Alex walked over to join them. Dr. Valena had been one of the first alien scientists to request permission to study human FTL technology. Her crystal body could process mathematical calculations at incredible speeds, making her the perfect partner for human researchers. "What have you found?" Alex asked. "We think we know why human FTL works when it should be impossible," Lisa said. "Dr. Valena has been analyzing the quantum mechanics of our reality-tearing approach." The crystal being's body pulsed with soft blue light as she spoke. "Human technology does not follow the same rules because humans do not think about space-time the same way other species do." Alex frowned. "What do you mean?" "Every galactic species approaches FTL by trying to work with the existing structure of space-time," Dr. Valena explained. "We fold it, twist it, or slide through gaps in it. But we always respect its fundamental nature. Humans do not," Lisa added with a grin. "We just hit it with a hammer until it does what we want." "That is a crude but accurate description," Dr. Valena agreed. "Your species treats space-time as something to be conquered rather than something to be negotiated with. This should result in catastrophic failure, but human consciousness seems to impose its own order on the chaos you create." Alex thought about this. "So you are saying our FTL works because we are too stubborn to believe it cannot work?" "In simplified terms, yes," Dr. Valena said. "Human willpower appears to be a measurable force in quantum mechanics." On the other side of the station, Ambassador Helen White was meeting with representatives from over 30 different species. The conference room had been designed to accommodate beings of all shapes and sizes, from the massive cetaceans to the tiny energy creatures of the Spiral Nebula. The experimental transit protocols have been a remarkable success, Helen was saying. Human technology has opened new possibilities for exploration and research that benefit everyone. Prime Harmonizer Thulmos, who had once demanded the destruction of human FTL technology, now supported the joint research program. "The humans have taught us that sometimes the most important breakthroughs come from those who do not know what is supposed to be impossible." The new protocols allowed humanity to continue developing their reality-bending technology while sharing discoveries with other species. In return, alien scientists provided knowledge about galactic civilization. An advanced theoretical physics. Admiral Jack Stone entered the conference room, carrying a datapad with the latest exploration reports. "Ladies, gentlemen, and honored beings," he announced, "I am pleased to report that the first joint expedition to the void regions has been successful." This caused excited murmurs throughout the room. The void regions were areas of space where CONVENTIONAL drives had always failed. For thousands of years, they had remained unexplored because no ship could survive the journey. "Captain Clark's team has established a research outpost in the Andromeda Gap," Admiral Stone continued. "Their human-designed ships were able to navigate spatial distortions that would have destroyed any conventional vessel. The expedition consisted of the Liberty under Captain Ryan Clark. Working alongside alien scientific vessels, they had been modified with human-inspired reality-bending technology. It was the first truly integrated human-alien fleet in galactic history. Dr. Kethfer of the Andromedian Collective raised one silver hand. "What did they find in the void regions?" Admiral Stone smiled. "Something that is going to change our understanding of the universe completely." He activated a holographic display that showed the interior of the Andromeda Gap. Instead of empty space, the region was filled with structures that defied description. Vast crystalline formations twisted through dimensions that should not exist, connected by streams of energy that pulsed with their own alien logic. "The void regions are not empty," Admiral Stone explained. They are filled with the remnants of a civilization that learned to build with space-time itself. Captain Clark's team believes these structures have been here for millions of years, waiting for someone with the right kind of FTL technology to find them. The room erupted in amazed sounds from dozens of different species. This was the kind of discovery that came along once in 1,000 years. Dr. Velena's crystal body blazed with excitement. If we can study these structures, we might learn to build with reality itself, not just travel through it. That is exactly what we are hoping, Helen said. But this kind of research will require cooperation between all our species. Human creativity combined with galactic knowledge. Back in the laboratory, Alex was working with a team of human and alien engineers on the next generation of FTL technology. They called it the Reality Engine, and it combined human brute force techniques with alien precision. Katie Bell, who had been promoted to chief engineer of the entire research station, was testing a miniature version of the device. It is like teaching our chaotic drives to have good manners, she explained to the mixed group of human and alien technicians. The new technology could do everything that human FTL could do, but with much more control and safety. It could create stable wormholes, bend space-time into useful shapes, and even manipulate the flow of time itself. The applications are limitless, said Dr. Sam Turner, who had become the station's director of impossible physics. We are not just building better spaceships. We are learning to edit the universe. 3 months later, Captain Ryan Clark stood on the bridge of the Liberty as it prepared for another expedition to the void regions. His crew now included beings from 6 different species, all working together to explore the galaxy's greatest mysteries. All stations report ready, announced Ben Harris, who had learned to communicate in 12 different alien languages. Katie, how are our reality engines performing? Ryan asked. Like a dream, Captain, Katie replied. We have got human power with alien precision. Best of both worlds. The Liberty engaged its hybrid FTL drive and disappeared from normal space. But this time, the violent tears and chaotic distortions had been replaced by smooth transitions between dimensions. The ship moved through reality like a fish through water, fast and graceful and completely impossible dot as they traveled toward the unknown regions of space. Ryan reflected on how much had changed since that first accidental discovery. In Dr. Morgan's laboratory, humanity had gone from being excluded from galactic civilization to becoming its most important members. The galaxy had learned that sometimes progress required breaking the rules, and humans had learned that their chaotic approach to problem-solving was not a weakness, but their greatest strength. Together, they were exploring possibilities that neither could have imagined alone. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and for the first time in galactic history, every species was working together to discover them. Captain, Ben announced, we are receiving a signal from the new research station in the Void region. Dr. Morgan says they have found something incredible. Ryan smiled. Put him through. Alex's face appeared on the main screen, and he was grinning like a man who had just solved the universe's greatest puzzle. Ryan, you need to get here as fast as possible, Alex said. We have found the builders of the void structures, and they want to meet us. Ryan looked at his mixed crew of humans and aliens, all working together in perfect harmony despite their vast differences. Set course for the research station. Maximum speed. Yes, sir, Katie replied. One reality-bending express trip coming right up. As the Liberty tore through space-time toward its destination, Ryan could not help but think that this was just the beginning. Humanity had taught the galaxy to think differently about what was possible. Now they were about to discover what lay beyond the possible entirely. The universe was about to get much more interesting.